Hello, my name is Joe Hansen. I'm a Senior Product Manager here at TownNews. Today we're going to be discussing Data Insights, which is one of our new products that is meant to be a one-stop source for all of your analytics needs. So instead of having to go to Google Analytics and pull reports or Google Ad Manager or in Blocks, instead we bring all that data together in a one platform that's within the Blocks platform, and we correlate that data across different metrics. So for example, content, assets that are produced in Blocks, along with page views from Google Analytics and revenue from Google Ad Manager. We're able to pull all those together on a per asset basis and really kind of expose that and make it very easy and accessible to everyone in your organization. This makes it a great place for your ad director to go, for your editor to go, for reporters, for circulation folks. Anyone in your organization has access to this data at their fingertips. Data is updated daily for the most part, and except for some of the program revenue, which is a monthly thing. What I'm going to do today is go over the platform in general, go through the different dashboards that are available, some of our key performance indicators and various reports that are within the dashboards, describe a little bit about how the platform works, how it functions, and how you can get the most out of it. For a deeper dive into the data and to explain all the different dashboards, we can always arrange a deeper demo of the platform for you. So I want to kind of start off, it's broken up into three main sections right now. We've got kind of your overall site, we've got editorial data, advertising data, and a little bit of subscription data. So each of the different dashboards can be opened up in its own tab. It got lined up here on top. And each of these dashboards can be exported out to a PDF. You can schedule it to be emailed automatically at a set time every day to you. And each dashboard has filters that can be applied. In this case, for this overview, is just a date range where you can specify what time period you want to look at. In this case, it defaults to the last 30 days. And before I forget it, I wanted to also discuss very quickly the sources of data that we're currently pulling into the dashboard. Now, I will say that these are always growing. We're constantly adding new data sources in, so expect that to grow over time. But initially, what we have is Blocks editorial and subscription data. We also have admin users. That basically is to account for reporters. And then we've got Google Ad Manager data, whether that be your own Google Ad Manager account, or if you're using one of our ad ops programs, the master TownNews account. We've got revenue from various TownNews revenue programs, for example, email programmatic ads, or the tributes, or photo sales, any of those kind of things. And then lastly, paid recommendations. So if you're using the Taboola or Outbrain Instigator type widgets, that revenue is also available in the Blocks platform. So let's go ahead and do a quick overview. You'll notice that there are two basic displays of data. There's a KPI, which is basically a number with a change over time, and then there's more of a report version. And there are different displays for the reports. Some are, as you can see, a line chart or a bar chart or a combination thereof. Some are more of a chart like this. When you have some of these, you can actually click on it, and that'll take you to a detail page specifically about that asset. And we'll go and actually show you what that looks like here in a little bit. But for right now, clicking on this will take you and drill you into that particular asset to get more detail about that. A couple quick things. This is your overall page view traffic. This is what you would see in Google Analytics. We do treat article views separately because we do a lot of math around that. So articles are kind of broken out separately. We calculate an engagement score. This is a complicated metric, and it's definitely site specific. It will range in different ways based upon your site. So you'll want to look at this as a relative score. And this overall average includes a lot of really low trafficked articles as well. So the average is always going to be much lower than an actual top asset. All right, so this page basically gives you kind of that big overview, your top assets, your top sections, where content is being consumed, who your content producers are, and then a quick glance at your membership performance indicators. So this is new members, and when we talk about the word member, we're really talking about someone who's a quote-unquote subscriber in the old model. Member is just the new buzzword for subscriber. So this shows new members as reported into the blocks system. We'll go over page view analysis here really quickly. So this is more of your analytics about overall traffic. We got trends by sections and devices and traffic sources and assets. And again, you can click on these assets and you can open those up directly with and get the content detail on those to get more detail. And then we break down just all sections, so you can get these charts. And any of these charts or graphs can also be exported out as a CSV or an Excel. These KPIs that we showed here, we'll talk about this more in the Google Ad Manager section, but these can be set to be alerted as well. So if you wanted to get an email when the trend on this over whatever filters you've got applied here changes, you can be alerted. So, for example, if I wanted to be alerted if it drops below, 3,750,000 page views in the last 30 days, which is that filter applied, I could set an alert, and it would automatically send me an email if this last 30-day average dropped below that value. All right, so member reading habits. So members are people who are both a registered user, they're logged in, and they have an active subscription service on the account. So this is a great way of seeing who your brand loyalists are. So these are the folks who, they're actively engaged, they've actually logged in, they're a paying subscriber, and you can see, overall 7.88% of page views are by members. That's pretty good. This number can vary widely, and obviously you want it to be as high as possible, but just to note that that is by members. And then we can see some trends, top articles. You can see there's differences between kind of drive-by traffic versus your members. We're going to skip through some of these very quickly. You will notice that a lot of the fields up here will grow over time. Content overview is a great example of that. You can filter by a number of different ways. If it has audio files, a video file, by a particular author, syndication sort, it's got a particular flag on it, a particular keyword on it, so you can do easy reports around that. This is also a great place to do a reporter-specific scheduled email. What you would do is you would specify a specific author you wanted to track, maybe set to the last 3 days, for example, and then they would get an email every day showing how their latest content is performing so they can stay up to date on that. Content producer performance is a great report just to kind of compare your producers overall and see how all of them are doing. Content details. So this is that dashboard I mentioned that gives you all the detail about that particular asset. We break out that engagement score by different segments, so social, mobile, logged in member, and overall. And then we kind of show you, how it's page used by registered users. So these are people who are just logged in and have an account on the site versus logged in and also have a subscription. So always a little lower for members than registered, but that's basically goes hand in hand there. Social shares. So the more social shares that an article get, this is tweets and Facebook likes and reshares and all that kind of stuff. This really drives up the engagement score. So as the content piece gets more and more social shares, its engagement score will drive up as well. And then we also show a breakdown of where that traffic originates from. Now we'll switch gears really quickly and go over revenue. So revenue, we bring in, as I mentioned, revenue from Google Ad Manager, from any kind of TownNews revenue programs. In this case, the site does not have any of those. Paid recommendations from Taboola, Instigator, Outbrain, etc. And any ad ops programmatic backfill that we supply as part of our program, the IQ Ad Ops program. So we kind of show that revenue over time, and then we break out a different report for each of the individual programs. So in general, they are going to be pretty straightforward, just showing you revenue. Google Ad Manager does give you a lot more detail, however. So let's take a look at that. Now what you're able to do is see revenue by device, by line item type, trends over time, your total revenue in this time period, your average CPM over time, impressions, and then viewability and click-through rates over time, as well as some additional breakdowns later on. One thing that I like to point out as a great tip for an ad director is to set something like, I want to see the last 7 days, and I want to see it by standard line item. So this is typically where you would book your locally sold ads. So if you set both of those and you apply them, you could then go in and set an alert on this and have it email. So this would let the ad director see if, for example, I want to be alerted if my average CPM drops below $6.50 in the last whatever you set here. These filters apply to this. So that's a very quick way of letting the ad director respond quickly to changes in CPM, and they can address that very quickly rather than at the end of the month. Last thing we'll talk about really quickly is subscriptions. So right now we basically have any kind of new subscribers that are reported to the block subscription system, how many total subscribers, and revenue. The revenue is associated with any rate that's set up in the system as well. So if those aren't set up, then rate's not going to come through fully. We show starts versus local content produced. As an editor, one thing you want to see is that additional local content drives starts. It doesn't always correlate immediately. Sometimes there's a day lag in that. So people consumed a lot of content yesterday and they're like, oh, you know what? I got a lot, so maybe I'll subscribe. Maybe in this case, here where we have this spike after this content. So it's always good to watch that. And then we break out as well by different subscriber audiences. So I hope that gave you a good overview of the Data Insights platform. And again, if you want to learn more, reach out to your sales rep and they can schedule a deeper dive into its data sets and you can get a better picture of things. Thanks and have a great day.